Ho ho ho, and welcome to a very special Christmas episode for the LARP Noobs. It's going to be our wrap up from the year.
Celebration of the year, right?
Yeah, celebration. We're here with Bung.
Hello.
And we're here with Ian.
Hello.
So we're just going to kind of have a bit of a wrap up of the year, really.
I'm already in a really nice chill mood for this.
Yeah.
This is a really, I'm literally sitting here with a little beverage, getting ready almost to talk around the fucking log fire, about just, the awesomeness of the hobby and everything that it is to be
and
part
do you
of
know
it.
what? Everything, all things considered, it's been a pretty good year for LARP. It's been a good year for the podcast.
I think it's shown the strength of the hobby, the people who are part of it, just the desire for game and the desire to do those things in life that you love, and the passion that you see people exhibit, and have pushed out during this time. If anything, it's like a real proving ground of the real positive aspects of LARP and the community and everybody who makes it up.
It's like the positives of LARP carry on even though LARP isn't happening a lot, right?
It lives in you, right? That's the thing.
It's good. We're going to start off with some really, really sad news. That basically I'm planning on starting off very, very sad, and we're going to work our way up to being happy again.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are not in the mood for here, this is basically what's it called? A trigger warning.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about some really depressing stuff for a couple of minutes. So maybe skip to 5 minutes ahead, and then things will be good again.
Yeah, maybe you can put in a little timestamp.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. Okay, this is a really sad story. So basically, during the last year or so, we had a young guy who was a fan of the podcast, who was a patron of the podcast, a guy called George Hatfield. He was a very young man, great guy. Luckily, I got to speak to him quite a lot over the last year, and we really got to know each other fairly well, and he helped me out a lot. Unfortunately, George was battling with cancer, and unfortunately passed away in September. He was a really wonderful guy, basically. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's awful. Let's move on to some positive stuff that comes out of this. Okay, so George was an actor in the intros and outros. He played the character called Varian. Unfortunately, obviously, I'm going to have to rethink a lot of things, how I'm going to do the script from here on out and how I want to finish that. That's why there's been a hiatus in the intros and outros being released, why there isn't an intro out on this one or the other ones. Sorry, it's very emotional, obviously. But what we're doing to celebrate George's life is that we're going to do a raffle. Yeah. So we've got our 37-inch arming sword from Light Armories. Yeah. Which is
beautiful.
It's such a nice weapon. It's just awesomely well made. It's fantastic. Light Armories unfortunately had a fire at their manufacturing place.
So sad.
It's so awful. They're no longer going to be making this stuff. So it's like, not only is it a really nice sword, there isn't going to be another one like this, right? There might be some more out there, but this one is one of the last few, okay? Yeah. So we're running that raffle with Santa Claus and Light Armories, Armory, and we're going to do a raffle. It's £5 a ticket. You get entered into the raffle. You can have as many tickets as you like. Basically, all you need to do is send £5 with the word raffle to our PayPal, which is the LARP Noobs Podcast. I'll put it in the description. We'll end the entrances on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, I'll hopefully get the draw done, and we'll let you know. I'll be sending it out if you're not going to Empire and you live abroad, or someone that isn't going to Empire. Don't worry, I'm happy to send that sword off to you, so don't feel like if you're somewhere else that you can't put your raffle ticket in and get a few raffle tickets. Hopefully we'll raise a bit of money, basically. That'd be really nice. So,
the charities...
young people...
Young Lives versus Cancer.
Young Lives versus Cancer, It's George spoke very highly of them and supported them during his journey. So, it'd be really nice to think that we can do a little something to help out people that are going through what he did, So, okay, that's the really sad stuff out of the way. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. This is kind of sad as well, what we're about to go into. We're thinking about taking a little break from doing the podcast, or at least changing things up a little bit, aren't we?
It's been an ongoing discussion, right? And it's not one that I think has like a definitive position as well, which I think is an interesting side to it. So I think what we're really thinking is potentially more of a slowing of delivery of stuff, just to give us time on some other projects we're doing, and also just ultimately I think we want to talk about stuff and express things that are interesting and things that kind of catch our eye and that we want to talk about.
I think there's a big danger of ourselves like repeating ourselves.
Yeah, we
going
do
over
in
old
some
ground.
ways.
I totally agree, and it's like I don't want to do that. You know, so we want to have more stimulus, and there's other things where we're getting into subject matter which, frankly, we're not qualified to talk about, right?
Yeah, like, and also, well, especially with you, with your political things, Ian, and just being Ian, is both falling into quite a lot of actual game.
Yeah.
So you're not actually getting a lot of the time to go through the more experiencey part of it, as in, there's a lot of stuff you can't discuss.
Yeah.
You can discuss basically rough ideas of what you're doing, but you have to drop a lot of things out because obviously you don't want to affect anything.
More and more so. I think like that's, to be honest with you, that will mean that if we do any ones about events we've been to with established characters who've got those kind of IC things they can't really talk about, I think like we'll just kind of broach that when it happens.
Yeah,
I think like
we actually recorded. So before, so we've been doing some player events over the course of like since September. We've done 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
We recorded, me and Ian did, recorded episodes around those, okay? It's a very drunken affair. Basically, we did the entire thing in one night and got pretty sauced throughout. So, and we are going to release them.
More so.
Yeah, or like, the last episode is properly...
Like, there was a bit where like we were both basically talking into the microphone, laying on couches next to each other, like our heads, like, about half a foot apart, like it was... Back in like old days, like being underneath the same duvet. And
you haven't listened to it back yet, but
no, I have.
Oh, you have?
Now. Yeah.
Okay, I think the first 10 minutes of the last episode is pretty bad, but then there's like really sweet, like we kind of bro out towards the end, and it's nice, man. Like I think it's worth releasing. Yeah. Well, you can be the judge.
You can be the judge. It was good fun, and I hope that this is good fun. Just having Bung here and being able to like talk about just all the experiences, everything it's been, making the podcast, going to LARP. It's a really great opportunity. My
point was that it was like we recorded those, and loads of super secret things happened at those events. Yeah. And we actually, when I went back and listened to them, it was like, we really didn't like give much away. We got involved. There was lots of other things to talk about.
Yeah, it shows that it can work.
Yeah.
One of the big problems is being and this is like a wider thing to do with like content creation and LARPing, right? Like, is we're going to tell stories that actually affect the game that we're playing.
Yeah.
And also, if we want to go for elections, I don't want anyone... One, I don't want an election to be swayed.
Fair,
I want it to be fair.
Yeah.
And I also don't want someone to be like, oh, that guy's a senator or that guy's elected to a general or whatever because he does this podcast and that's the reason why. Like, that's not... like, I don't want that at all, right? So that's... Yeah. That's something I need to think. Well, we need to think about. Not that we are big, or I think that I've ever got the impression that we've got favourable treatment, but it's more like it's just something I want to try and navigate around. Really.
I think that it's more of like I think because it's a fear in our minds, right? Like I think that's the point of caution, right? Like I'm worried that like that might be an aspect in things, and it's like so it's something you have to consider. Yeah,
is there anything worse than a LARP celebrity?
And it's like, to be honest with you, like it's just been great actually. The way like being part of the community and everything. Like,
okay, we're gonna gush now for a while about how great it's been making this podcast and how great it is that you've been coming along with this journey for us for a while.
Yeah.
It's been amazing, hasn't it? It's been the best thing that I've ever done in my life. Yes. I would go that far.
That far.
And I can't separate LARP from doing the podcast.
No.
Both of them have been equally as like illuminating and life changing and it's just been incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Utterly like life changing, like experience in a sense. Like the combination of the two and like getting to do this with you and Bung and being like involved in it all and just have everyone just be so sort of positive and supportive.
I had a friend of mine.
Like, wow.
I had a friend of mine that said to me, like, "Oh, I wish I had something like the podcast that I could do and I was releasing." And I was thinking to myself, like, I honestly can't think how we got started in the first place. Like, it seems so hard to do now, but we just did it, got it out there, and just started continuing to do it. And then along that journey, people have been kind enough to listen to it, and not only do that, but like support us on Facebook, make friends of us, send us nice emails. Like, dude, most other content creators that I know that in the LARP sphere have received terrible things, okay? Like awful comments, nasty emails, like death threaty type things, you know what I mean? Like misogynistic awfulness. Us, nothing. The worst thing we've ever received was a 4 out of 5 star review for, and that was saying that we talk over each other too much.
Which we do.
Which we do. It's a totally valid criticism, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've been so lucky. This isn't like a call to trolls, but...
no, definitely. Please no.
Like, but yeah. No, it's more like to say, like, thank you to you as a community. Like, you're just amazing. You're so supportive of each other and so supportive of us. It's like... You're so good.
Like, literally, like, life-alteringly positive experience.
Yeah.
Like, the things, the differences it's made to me, like, and my happiness as a person, is astounding.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't thank you enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure to be involved in everything.
So let me. I've got some stats for you here, actually. So, who are the listeners that are listening to this right now? Okay, who are you, sir, madam, or non-binary that's listening to this? We've had 42,500 downloads.
Wow.
Right, that's 42,500 decisions to click on the button. That's staggering to me.
It's mind blowing. Right?
Okay, 60. Okay. They've been downloaded and listened to in 56 different countries. Over that, I think. Like, think about that. So not only... so the majority are from the UK, which is just over 60%, okay?
Yeah.
Which is still surprising, because I expected no one who wouldn't go to Empire listening to it, right? Then the US, Canada, the Netherlands, Australia, Germany. A lot of those you kind of expect to. But there's some, like, countries that you're like... Imagine someone listening to us talking about LARP in England in these countries. Oman, the Seychelles, Iran, Kazakhstan. One of our main patrons is from Kazakhstan.
I think that's, like, I don't know, like...
yeah.
Like, I just think, like, LARP is a present thing all across the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it, like... And especially the spirit of LARP just is, like, it's...
I love it. Like, it's so incredible, all these different people around the world taking their time to listen to us waffle on, and like, it feels just like so special to be part of that.
Yeah, you know? It's like, because I guess you assume, because what we talk about is like really, really like niche in a way, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and hopefully it's entertaining in a sense where it's not just like sort of info dumps about what we did on a particular event and stuff, and hopefully it's like...
It's been a long time since I've been able to look at what we do and be like proud of it and see it as good, right? Because there's a lot of feelings that I have, and I think all of us here have those feelings, right? Which is like imposter syndrome, that your work isn't very good, and all that stuff, right? Like, I've really had to just release stuff because, like, you know, just for myself, even despite not thinking it's very good. And it's only now with this distance that I can genuinely be like, man, some of the stuff that we've done is actually pretty fucking good. Yeah. Right? Like, legit. Like, especially your episode on the history stuff was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and that is its whole other thing. But I think, like, that episode particularly, and what it represents for me, like, and the things it sort of had, the way it changed me as a person positively, I think it's a whole other thing we can talk about. But I think with you guys, an interesting dynamic to the whole podcast has been this ongoing radio play performance that you two particularly have really put into the podcast, and the way that I think like that creative sort of critique of yourself that you have. I think you guys have had it far more because you've obviously been essentially putting together a story through the whole process. And I was really not involved in a lot of this. Really, I looked at a few of the scripts as you guys were doing them and just like stuff.
As Dave was doing them, I just turn up and do a silly voice.
No, you're fantastic, Bob.
Yeah, it's a team effort, dude. Like
because there's so much personality in the narrator. But like anyway,
it's brilliant. It's got to the stage where me and Dave have done it so often that when he's reading my lines, I'm sure they're appearing in the narrator's head. He's understanding the nuances that he's getting and stuff like that. Because when Dave puts his director's hat on, it's scary.
Yeah, it's fun. I love doing it. Like I love. By the way, if it seems like at all we don't enjoy doing this, and that's why we might change things.
I think it's fairly self-evident. We
really love doing it, right? Like it's like doing the intros and outros with Bunk. Started off with something like I wanted to do something that would make the podcast just a little bit special and do something fun and kind of like LARPy to say like this is kind of us LARPing.
Yeah. When I first came over to do the when we did the intros and outros for the first 3 episodes, which I mean it sounds really horrible to say, but I've absolutely loved listening back to the whole series. I do it every so often, usually just for a laugh. Or
you should do. You've got a lot to be proud of.
But it's like
we're saying
those first 3 episodes, I absolutely loved.
Oh, they're fantastic.
And what was ridiculous about those is I turned up to Dave's and he had a single piece of A4 paper with 3 separate ideas, each about 2-3 lines long. And it's just like, all right, well, let's just riff on this for a bit. And we ended up with what we got.
Yeah, I think the development of the character as the narrator, and we've kind of shoehorned in the name the narrator later on, but we've been calling him the narrator since the beginning, right? So that's why I probably called it. But going from what are effectively like short snippets, the first one I think was literally just to figure out a way. It's a warning that we're going to swear in the episode. I think that was the other thing.
We've never made again.
Which we've never warned people ever again. So,
sorry about all of that.
You got to start at episode 1 as always. That's on you.
Right? Sorry
that's
about
what
all
we
that.
warned at the start of the podcast.
It's like the most unprofessional
the
way of doing a podcast, right? Not offering a swear warning. It's like so bad.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's very us. It's very us.
Yeah, and it's also like, I grew up watching the Blues Brothers, and it didn't make me swear too much, right?
Right? Definitely not.
The making the Tower of Anarch was amazing because having all the different characters coming together and have all these different people, none of them are actors, coming together and like performing. We got Andy Raff, for fuck's sake, to be the fucking actual Anarch at the end. Spoilers, by the way, spoilers. And now we're working on...
if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to the Tower of Anarch...
well, that's on you, isn't it, really? Yeah. The Beast of Beggar's Land will be released. Yeah. Like, I promise you, I'm finishing that son of a bitch. I'm getting that thing across the line, okay? Yeah. Like, we're finishing it. It means the world to me that we finish it. I think, like, actually, a lot of stuff that I'm talking about here is, like, the intros and outros, because of a lot of reasons, was a quite emotional thing for me recently, right? So... that's another reason. It means a lot to me. I think I need a break from doing that specifically. Yeah. Although it's been amazing, right? Like, it's so good. By the way, the end's like awesome. There's like a really big fucking awesome twisty bit. It's going to be fucking amazing. I just can't wait to release it and get it out there and kind of like all the actors are raring to go and thank you for their patience, right? But that will be released in the new year. Seeing that we're talking about things that are coming up, I quickly just want to blast out. There's going to be, and this is weird, we're talking about wrapping things up, right? And
there's actually quite a lot of stuff going to be coming out.
Yeah, there's a shitload of stuff about to come out, okay? So we've got to finish the League off, right? Which I have arranged to be recorded and will released in the coming weeks.
Nice.
We have a bunch of episodes about new player events, which I would highly recommend. They're really, really, we had a great time. And,
we had a really good time. Really
going to player events and learning how overpowered they are in a number of different ways. Like, you get to hang out and chat to senators and go on skirmishes and make friends in nations. Anyway, listen to the episodes.
Fantastic.
They're really fun. Although, obviously, we did warn earlier, but we do get excessively more pissed as the episodes go on. So, this is a weird one. And I've had this thing, like we talked about it before. We really enjoy making the thing. But anyone that's met me, especially if you come up to me and been like, "Hey, thanks for making the podcast," which people do, which is fucking amazing, by the way. I'm always a little bit like embarrassed by the fact is that I'm doing it. I still haven't figured out how to really take on a lot of compliments, right? Like it's still quite challenging. Despite that, I'm releasing a musical track. Okay, yes. So for someone that doesn't necessarily completely like the limelight, sometimes it does look like I certainly do, right? Like I've made a track. This started off as a shower thought. Literally, I think I was in the shower, and Park Life by Blur came on my playlist, in my maybe alternative playlist from the 90s, right? Yeah. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if you did a cover of that was LARP Life instead of Park Life? Yeah? Yeah. You see how an idea like that just wouldn't let you go, right? You got to chase down an idea with that sort of quality. Yeah. So I don't know. And if you knew the time, effort, and money that's gone into this 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. No. Like I'm laughing, but like I'm laughing because like you really fucking went there with this. Right, you really fucking went there with this.
I got a music producer guy in. Yeah. I went through the track on him. I talked about percussion, what instruments I wanted, everything. We also got Gabby, who does songs and stories, to do backing vocals. Yeah.
So good, by the way, Gabby.
And
good.
I went into it, and she does these amazing harmonies on it. I went into a studio and did my best Cockney impression.
Dude, you fucking smashed that shit. What are you saying? Like, fuck me.
Honestly, I don't know what it's for. I don't know. I'm never going to... Okay, if I get to release it on Spotify and I own the rights to it, which I don't, I'm still working through with Warner, Chappelle and Sony about the clearing the rights for the song because it's a cover. Even if I released it on Spotify, you get like... 0.0066 dollars per stream. Sure. So even just to host the song on Spotify, I would need to have thousands, and I mean like thousands of downloads to even break even on just the hosting, let alone all the production stuff that went into it. So no, this is my madman. What's he doing? Why is he pouring his resources into this one thing? But yeah, it's going to be released hopefully. Hopefully, it's basically going in for final mixes now. Once the final mix is done, I can get off to Sony and Warner Chappelle. Please, if they sign off on it. Yeah. And then basically I upload it, they check it, bam, and it's out there, and people can listen to it. That's going to be... dude.
That's only... Well, we'll see. That's only going to be hopefully phase 1 as well.
Yeah, if people like it, I would really like to do a music video for it. Like, I can see the music video, how it would look. And I think if you listen to the track, there's a music video there. That's kind of like... Yeah, that might be my magnus opus to finish as my gift to LARP, right?
It's no, like, no, but honestly, I've had the pleasure of listening to it, and it's like on so many levels, it's fucking amazing. It's so good.
I don't think I've heard the mix with you on it. I've heard the mix with Gabby.
Oh.
Yeah,
and that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, people have been listening to like little bits of this as it goes because
I had the privilege of listening to it. What are you saying?
Yeah, and that wasn't even like finely mixed. And there's like the latest version has a couple of errors in it that are being worked on now. But like, I have basically bringing together talented musical people makes things very easy. So, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So basically. If you want to listen to it, just listen to it once for me. That's $0.0066 going towards... No, but Warner Chappelle and Sony will probably take a cut of that.
Yes, they will, yeah.
Almost certainly.
Doesn't it fall under parody, which...
No, parody's got a weird... Basically, this is really... I've had to do it... Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I've had to learn about, but basically, because the structure's identical and the words are very similar, that they actually... Because it's not... I wouldn't say it's a tough line. Either way, you have to get permission, and they'll provide a contract for it, so... Yeah. Anyway...
And if you don't know, you'll get DMCA'd on YouTube straight away.
And Spotify and terrible things and lawyers will come for me, and they'll kick down my door and take me to copyright prison or something. I don't know.
Yeah. You wouldn't steal a tape.
Yeah. Damon Albarn comes kicking down my door like, listen, you thief.
For some reason he's got like a radar dish in one hand.
It was only supposed to highlight how great LARP is. I'm sorry.
Take him away,
actually,
boys.
quite a posh boy from Coventry just keeps going, hello. I believe you've ripped off my song. Where's my money, bitch? I want that $0.00066, please.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm probably going to listen to it on Spotify at least once. So,
why would you don't listen to it once? It's like a fucking great thing you've done.
Well, we'll see. Let's let the audience decide. Because
well, no, I'm just telling the audience how I feel about it.
Yeah, it is fun. I need to listen to it again. Actually, I want to listen to the final mix, and then I'll know where we're at. I'm too close. I'm just too close to it.
Yeah,
like
of course,
yeah, every note. Right, what are we moving on to next? Oh, there's a couple of bits that we want to talk about just by... we've kind of gone into this. This is a very self-indulgent episode, by the way.
Hugely self-indulgent.
Massively, like beginning to end. This is kind of what we wanted to do, though, really.
Well, yeah, it's like when we did the Christmas stream. That was, again, very self-indulgent.
Well, it's kind of hard to just kind of... Sometimes we just want to talk about the podcast as a thing. And it's like, it's hard to find a space. And we don't want to talk about it, like... ignores you.
Yeah, right? And it's like I think like it's so difficult as well, not only to separate LARP from the podcast, but to separate LARP and the podcast and my life from one another. You know, like it's so integrally part of who I've become as a result of having done it.
Yeah.
That it's just a great thing.
For me, it's just doing silly voices. So if you've ever played D&D with me, you know I love doing silly voices. So. Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is for me? It's the I find, and the best way I can describe how I consider doing creative work or even just doing the podcast and all this stuff. Think of it like a game of American football, but the ball is made out of concrete. Okay. There's no other team. It's just me trying to drag the ball up the field to try and get it across the line, okay? And every time I do a project, I get it across the line and it feels so good to have overcome all of my foibles and everything just to get it across. And then basically that restarts and I do it again. And it's like, this sounds terrible, right? But I love it. I love whatever that sensation is.
I think it has quite similar qualities to exercise in some ways, and this is going to sound really fucking weird, but when you'll have times when you're doing like a run or whatever, and you'll be like, this is a process I'm feeling good about. The last 4 days in a row, the run's been really good, and then you'll hit that 5th day. And you'd be like, oh man, like this, this really sucks. Like, it's like a lot to finish this run. Like maybe you only do 3/4 of it, and you have to really push to get that last.
Yeah. And you overcome it, right?
Right, and then when you do overcome that bit, and then you can kick back in, it's such a great feeling.
I think that's why I also enjoy running. Right, like it's that sensation of overcoming the negativity is like a really good feeling.
But I think that whole thing like fed into creative aspects as well, and the way that I think there was just this aspect in my life that existed before where it was like a creative endeavor could never really be fully completed. It was very, like a very kind of perfectionist kind of thing, I suppose. It
happens a lot to a lot of artists, right?
And it's like I just could never finish anything and never have the courage to show anybody anything, never like express and then feel confident enough to like do it with a sense where I would be willing to take like that kind of risk. It was just like, it's been hugely important.
Dude, like getting stuff out there. What's hard to do is like whenever there's a shift in your mindset, because you're doing it and you're there all the time, it's hard to see it. But my mindset towards like I see things as achievable now. Yeah. Right? Like it's hard work. Like literally the LARP Live project started in 2019. Yeah. Okay? Like this is a culmination of a considerable pain in the ass, right? And it's like, bear in mind all of this, I'm going, why the fuck am I doing this, right? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff, and in this project you may well be correct, but like, I don't know, like trying to just keep on at something, and I would say the podcast is the same. We just carried on doing it, and now we're like 65 episodes in of like
probably more.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I feel like the LARP Noobs is a thing now, right? Like when I think about it, it's not just me, you, and Bung with a microphone. It's more than that now. It has like a community attached to it. It has a history of people have like stuff that we've done with it, people that have enjoyed it. Like there's a lore to itself, right? I love it. It's cool. This is very wanky. I apologize.
But then I don't know. I think because all of this actually really is a huge thanks to the community.
Yeah.
Because really, it's like ultimately the fact that people like it and can endure listening to me talk about the things that I talk about.
We've had people that weren't going to LARP that now are LARPing or going to LARP because of this podcast.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The fact that there's people who could have the life-changing opportunity that I've had and which is going to LARP, right? And then like having just even the hint that in any way I could have like helped guide someone towards that type of thing in their life. That's fucking, it's crazy.
Especially seeing that I think like we're so used to having like the best in the world, right? Like when you turn on any podcast, it's the best podcast in the world that everyone listens to. Or you watch YouTube, it's the one with the most views, or television, right? Like what's cool is being like what I would consider us to be like pretty much like an everyman. There's nothing exceptional about us, right? Like we're the most average dudes, right? If you
all
meet us,
sliders.
You'll be staggered at how we're like RPG characters that you just put all the sliders to medium, and then created a character. That's who we are. And then to go from that to actually have people I won't be too self-indulgent with some of the nice messages we've got, but they're very, very nice. And people just being really supportive and just being fantastic about what we've done. Like, even when we can't see it ourselves sometimes, like, hey, it's fucking amazing.
There's great friends that I've made as well, right? And people who, like, I talk to pretty regularly, and are, like, they're just really nice, just genuinely awesome people.
No one's fucked with our game. No one's trolled us. No one sent us, like, evil messages or dick pics or any of that stuff, right? Like we haven't been like burnt at the stake. We haven't like had to make an apology video. No. We're golden. Like how have we managed?
Oh man,
the amount of things that we probably like incredible.
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel the LARP noobs. Yeah, I don't know.
Hashtag not my LARPers.
Hashtag not my LARPers. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, maybe we should start a smear campaign against ourselves.
But no, so I think it's just been the community, to be honest with you, and like because ultimately, when you obviously you release a project to get it out in the world, but you also release it to be seen, to be heard, to be.
That's the difference, right? And I think you were alluding to that earlier. I think there is something, and this isn't right for everyone, by the way, but for me now, releasing stuff and letting other people enjoy my work is something like kind of part of it now, right? Like, it also makes me finish projects. It helps me keep on and motivates me to do more projects. It's like, it's a funny. There's loads of aspects of stuff that I like to do that I keep to myself, but the LARP noobs and other projects that we're working on are really exciting to me.
So look, there's lots of stuff in life that I think we all do and you do a hobby or you do something you enjoy and you complete it, and it's something awesome and that's for you, right? But then there's times where it's nice to try and do something awesome and fun that is important to you, and to express that and to have that expression be something that you can put outward, something that other people can observe and take
that other people can enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
you want to be seen, right? Like in a certain extent. Like
when some people really love this, like they really love it, and it's like I love that people love it. Like that's amazing, right? Like when I release an episode, I know that there are some people out there that will immediately hit the play button on it. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't really have many things in my life that do that anymore, right? Like, maybe hardcore history, maybe.
Yeah.
But, right, that's pretty sweet, dude.
Mind you, with hardcore history, you're waiting years.
3 years. Yeah, well, it must seem like that with us sometimes. To be fair, we like to have a healthy hiatus.
We've had some sort of slower parts, and sometimes that's been because it's just actually very difficult to get stuff done sometimes.
Do you know how much I beat myself up trying to get an episode out a month over the course of quarantine and lockdown? Like, I really kicked my ass just because I was like, no, we have to try and release one a month. Looking back at it now, I'm like, holy crap, we managed to release that many episodes over that time, like with no LARP happening.
Well, I think this is your experience and my experience is, I think, ever so slightly different, because you've always been much more on the production side, much more as well doing. Basically, most of the time I turn up and talk, and then the rest of it's on you. Like, basically. So, like, my job's fairly much, pretty much done, unless I'm doing something on the intros and outros, which I've only done.
It's very similar to my job, which I just turn up and talk, and then he does all the magic.
Yeah, so there's a lot you take on, Dave, right? And it's
you're making it sound like I do everything, and that isn't true.
No,
like,
I look, believe me, I know my role, I know what I do, and I'm very proud of all of my involvement in the project. But I think you deserve just a special amount of praise for everything you've taken on and done. Like, as a friend, I can't be more proud, dude. You've been absolute wonder.
Okay, I think this is. I actually received an email recently from a guy called Ian
Mogak.
Ian Mogak.
I apologise if I.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I
getting
know
that wrong.
Ian is the Irish spelling, so if there's an Irish pronunciation on the name, I am so sorry for murdering it.
Yeah, he's from Canada, so I think Scottish. Because his name's spelt with an I.
Yeah, Scottish or Irish.
It'd be like me.
Yeah, either way. Anyway, he sent us an email, and God, I've completely forgotten the segue that I brought up this email with. What were we just talking about?
I was just saying that you were awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Because you are, by the way.
Basically, we were blowing smoke up your arse.
And I'm now about to bring up an email where a guy's really, really nice to me about the podcast.
Yeah. It's that wanky bullshit. Like, we are this wanky bullshit.
Bad.
At this point.
I'm gonna hate this episode.
Yes.
I'm never gonna listen to this one.
This is. But I think, like, as I've said a bunch of times, I think actually really, sometimes it's nice to talk kind of fairly meta about the podcast. I think that naturally seeps into the conversations as we have them. But, like, we don't want to do it all the time because it is very wanky.
Hence the Christmas special.
Yeah, I think getting all the wank out at Christmas is... No, it's good though, right? It cleans us all out for the rest of the year, you know?
I think actually also the fact that we have been thinking about slowing down and stuff, and because we don't want to just sort of, for over a period we don't release something and then people are starting to worry or whatever, so we thought the best thing is to keep you in that, like, we might slow down production on things in the future. I think
it's I don't know, like, it's still loads of stuff I still want to do with it.
Oh, totally.
But it's more like, it's just been 2 years since the reality is, it's been 2 years since we LARPed, okay? Like, actually at Empire, right? Yeah. Like, we need to get out there, we need to go on the field, we need to, psychologically, I think it would be nice for us to go to an event and not think about recording it.
Yeah.
Right? Not for one second.
Actually, to be honest with you, I think that is the thing that I have gone to all the events not thinking like that.
No, that's true. Yeah, sometimes I've had to write notes sometimes towards the later events just to try and remember certain bits, but not that we changed our behaviour or anything, obviously. But yeah, no, I don't know really what we're talking about here anymore when it comes to the hiatus. Like, what are our motivations?
Well, no, I think the other thing that's been interesting is actually the closer we've come to recording this episode, the more, like, when we were talking about doing this episode for a while, like, and it's like,
I've been telling people, I've been going to events, and people have been like, "Hey, how are you going on with the podcast?" I've been like, "Actually, we're talking about wrapping things up actually for a while," and now we're closer and closer we get to this episode. The less and less I'm like sure on that as a position.
Well, yeah,
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
Are you saying that we started off like the really sad episode saying that we're going on a hiatus and now we're not going to go on a hiatus?
Well, no, there's also that thing is like what's going to probably happen is we're going to go to the next Empire event, and then afterwards you guys are going to be like, we have to fucking chat about this.
And it's going to happen.
And basically it'll go, rather than perhaps the monthly, it might end up being only after like events or player events and stuff like that.
But even then, things won't change because they'll still want to do specials, so there'll still be specials scattered in it.
Yeah, I still want to talk to people. It'll happen, dude.
Like, we're talking about going on hiatus now. We have, we're going to do the player event ones, I'm also going to release one about the Northern Kingdoms event, which is a Witcher LARP, which was fucking incredible that we haven't even recorded yet. The track's coming out. We've also got the League episode. I worked on a video with a friend of mine last year that he's currently editing. He's gone through some stuff recently, so he hasn't been editing it, but we're going to get it finished by January, hopefully in time for this. Yeah. It's going to be crazy. That video is going to be pretty wacky. Yeah, Beatles wacky. Like
is that the one I've seen the raw footage for?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be odd.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's going to condense it all together into some sort of any coherent narrative.
I think it'll be funny.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. It's full of little skits.
So basically, I've put a date on it of the end of January.
Right. We'll see.
February, hopefully, we'll get something released. That's what I'm looking forward to. We've also been working on another project, which is a roleplay podcast.
Yeah.
Which we've been working on as a group with a couple of other people.
Yeah.
We are very excited about this project.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, that might not ever see the light of day.
No, I think the really interesting... basically, the concept is that we've been playing a bunch of different role-playing systems in fairly short campaigns, like one-shots or slightly larger. In my case, slightly larger.
Ian, can you do a one-shot? Yeah, we'll do it over 4 nights, and there'll be 5+ hour sessions each.
Yeah, so, But like, I think
it's been amazing. But basically, I think we're at that kind of like early stages, and I've kind of realised what we're doing is actually testing the concept.
Yes.
So we're kind of editing and kind of doing stuff like that, but we're kind of testing out to see what would be listenable and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
We want to make it as real to actual gaming as it is, but
we've done 5 different sessions. Yeah, dude, it's a lot. Like
we've only done 4.
No, we've done. Okay, let's go through it. We've done Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
We've done Tales from the Loop.
Yeah.
We've done the Viking one, Iron Sworn.
That was great. Awesome.
Don't wait for us to play it. Go play Iron Sworn. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. There's a YouTube series called Me, Myself, and Die.
Oh,
it's criminally underviewed. It's outrageously.
I'm going to be straight up. Me, Myself, and Die is quite literally the best RPG story.
Yeah,
like rolled from dice, performed by a DM.
Yeah, it's better than Critical Role. It's one guy just smashing it. So
season 2. Okay,
spoilers. You should start at season 2.
Start at season 2. It's amazing.
What are we up to?
So Vampire.
Yeah.
Tales of the Loop.
Yeah.
Iron Sworn.
Dust City Outlaws. What's the 5th little piggy?
I don't think we have done a 5th. I think we've done 4.
Oh yeah, 4.
Because we did Iron Sworn because we were going to initially start off the
Neon City, but I think
and then it was like, we need a bit longer to get the set up. No worries. Then
all of the RPGs just mentioned, I would highly recommend. They're excellent. Basically, Tales from the Loop
was great.
Woo!
Really good.
That's a hell of a game.
And the people we have. I mean, obviously, we mentioned Ian's GMing one of the games. We've got a few other people in doing the GMing, and they have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing. We want to do stuff. We rotate players, we rotate games. Like we might not always be in it.
I think, like the way I think of it now is, I'm gonna get, and I've already put feelers out to some really cool players coming up. I'm gonna swap things out, and then I think we just make a giant batch of like episodes, and then just release them like a playlist, right? Like. So you never know what you're going to get.
I think either that or all the ones we've recorded currently might not even make it. I think but that's been quite nice going into it, where we've just gone in with the freedom of we're going to record it and not worry if any of them will ever actually be released.
Like we do with the podcast, let's finish it.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's it. We will finish it.
And then basically we'll be like, we can listen to them, figure out whether we want to release them or not. This is a little insight into, by the way, this is very much how we work, by the way, like these sort of conversations, like cooperatively working together. So like I was talking about before, like Ian and Bung, like basically are my absolute rocks when it comes to all of this. And there's been like, we've extended that family a little bit. People like Merlin, right? People like all the cast to all of the stuff I've been working on, right? It's
phenomenal what you guys have done.
The different guests, we haven't even mentioned the guests.
Oh, dude.
How good are the guests that we've had on? Like, by the way, Tim Baker has recommended a lot of them. And they're basically all then, I've leapfrogged from a good guest and I've said like, I'm going to do this episode. Who would you think would work? And they've maybe given me a couple of names and I've been like, boom. this person is the person I want, and then leapfrog on. And it's like, I've got the League one coming up. I'm so confident. People are going to dig that. They're going to enjoy the characters involved. They're just very fortunate.
No, man, it's when you're asking people to come on and talk about something, you know, and that because we're idiots, right?
Yeah.
Right, and it's like, so they have to explain to an idiot the thing that they're very competent at.
Yeah. It's also like, it's funny, like when people are talking about, a lot of people are nervous before they come on, and it's like, we're still nervous before we do it. Every single time. Yeah. It's like, you still have that kind of thing where, like, where you, okay, we're going to do it, and then you get into it, and then you just let it flow, and it's good. But so trying to explain to someone that they're scared about coming on, it's just like, well, yeah, you're scared, but in about 10 minutes you'll kind of forget that we're recording and get into whatever we're talking about, and it'll be fun, right?
Well, again, going back to the intro and stuff, we have the whole, when we turn up, time to do it, we have a whole ritual we go through to get into the mindset for it all. And I'm guessing it's the same for the main podcast. We're like, you two will boom, sit down, get everything set up, and then
the hello, my name is Dave intro has completely become my like crux or whatever.
Right.
I do it every single time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't consciously do it. It's just how I start the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing, but it definitely gets me into.
I never introduce myself. I'm just like so bad at it. Like you always have to say my name. It's so bad.
Well, I think you have to kind of. The problem is like when you're listening, and me and you, Ian, especially. I think because we grew up half a mile away from each other, we sound very similar.
We do.
So a lot of the time, I've had people that know me that are foreigners who have listened to the podcast and not known who's who.
Yeah, I can imagine, dude. Like I can imagine. I think like the weird flow statiness of it as well.
For some people, must think it must be like one person talking to themselves for like an hour and a half, talking over themselves.
Talking over themselves.
It's their minds talking, like the different aspects of their own mind.
This is actually just Dave's in a monologue and himself talking to each other.
Yeah. Am I just in a fever dream right now?
Whereas you can hear a distant saxophone playing, and it goes very Blade Runner.
Oh yeah. Did all of it ever happen, or was it just an implanted memory? Right, I think we've kind of gone through all of our notes there, fellas.
Yeah, so I guess like
I don't know what's this going to be like to listen to. Basically, it's been very self-indulgent and wanky. When actually, I think the problem is like the context for how much doubt I've had in myself and the project for the last 2 years. I'm finally getting to the point now where I don't really feel that as much anymore, and I'm actually really, really proud of it. So if it seems like I'm being like, oh, how great are we? Like, it's more like a kind of like revelation that we're not as bad as I thought we were, right?
Yeah,
like that's
I think also a revelation that like I can be happy with something that I've done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
That in itself is hugely positive.
I think there's a big danger, and I think a lot of creative people will kind of might hit a note with them. But when I talk about, oh, my podcast is shit.
Yeah.
It's an insult to people that are listening to it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that happens with art, that happens with literature, that happens with music, that happens with everything. And I think one thing, if nothing else I've taken from this, it's been let other people either enjoy or not enjoy your stuff. Let them be the choice, right? Let them make that decision.
I think you'll inevitably have that aspect of subconsciously where you'll be like, oh, it's not very good or whatever, right? But I think it's just, as I said before, it's nice to sort of do something with the idea that other people can see it and judge it and find whatever value they can find in it, and that's okay. And I'm happy for people to do that. And it sounds so basic. That's the thing. But like it was interesting to me and exposing to me like how inhibited on a bunch of things like that I actually was in my life.
Totally.
How little I risked, like in terms of like the way I would engage with things, like literally as a human being.
I love that, how little you risk, right? Like how much you're willing to put on each hand, right? Like I think that's a great way to put it.
It was I would play poker, but like there's never that aspect. Not that I'm saying this is a good analogy in any way, but like playing poker with aspects of my life I never really did, right? Like I never. So it's good. So it was just a great thing to take on.
But you'd have to play poker with the book money.
Where's the money, Ian? Tallis. Where's the money gone?
I made that money. That was my money.
That money. So
he did make that money, but when he's the only money earner, it's
it was reckless and irresponsible.
It's like a drunk dad in the '60s going down the pub. Do you know what I mean? Like, I made this money, and like
eat crackers.
Listen, man, like the rest are kids and like a housewife. Like no one's making any money in the house. Like it doesn't justify you in drinking it all down the pub or gambling it away in this case. Like. I can't wait for the futures of our characters. Yeah. I can't wait for the future of what's going to happen at Empire. I am talked out of current state politics in Empire. Yeah. I'm so exhausted by it.
The thing is, I think you say that, but like, you probably find you aren't.
No,
that's how crazy LARP is.
I think once you get those tats on your face.
Yeah,
it's going to all come flooding back.
Plus, it's a lot like you go to a fire pit and you're sitting around there. Then you hear someone say something, and then it's just like you hear the bell go off in the background, and you're like, "Oh, excuse me, I just need to take my robe off while I enter the ring right now." Do you know what I mean? Like there's going to be stuff like that.
Oh
yeah. We don't have any player events planned in the new year. We kind of missed out on a couple of opportunities, which sucks.
Yeah.
I was glad I managed to get a couple in this year.
Oh, yeah, no, those were really, fantastic to do.
Yeah, definitely highly recommend listening to the... Yeah. Also, I think if you just want to hear, like, me and Ian
get drunk,
slowly descend into drunkenness.
Yes.
Like, if nothing else...
The thing is, it might not be that slow.
No, we were pretty...
If you've ever been on one of the Callum's Empire famous pub crawls, you'll already seen this.
This was strange because I actually genuinely didn't drink a lot.
We drank a fair amount.
Okay, is that me? Okay.
We were doing just fine, Ian, definitely. Okay. And I think if you, the last episode. Anyway,
I think it does show that last episode.
So I think we've still got, we're still definitely going to be releasing stuff in probably February.
I'm sure we'll end up doing so.
Yeah,
I'm already thinking it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
let's see.
It's going to be a hiatus of probably about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I guess the more I think about it, it's nice to let people know that question is in the mind.
It's constantly in the mind,
and it has been for probably almost since we started in a sense.
100%. The LARP News project was only supposed to be that opening. What it's like for completely new people that aren't celebrities or have been LARP before or any of that stuff, and their experiences as like an everyman going into it, right? That was the whole point.
But as a crazy side to that, I'm not even sure that was the point.
It was for me. Well, I don't know. You can think about the projects as a whole.
I don't think there was ever even like I think we literally just decided we'd do a podcast. That was it.
No, that was for me. That was the kind of at least the nugget of the idea that was supposed to be going on behind, but.
No, I just thought it was it was literally But then because I think because I approached you about LARP and you approached me about doing the podcast. Yeah, and that's the way it kind of evolved.
Yeah. In fact, the LARP News podcast, I remember Ian being extremely unhappy with when I first propositioned him.
That's true. Oh man.
And I still think it's so obnoxiously
on the nose for how shit we are.
Yeah. Now I like it. It's just so. It's so tacky. I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect for us, I think.
Yeah, I think especially when you talk to so many people who are so knowledgeable and skilled and talented, and you realise that you're
scrubbed here.
I do not know what I'm talking about. The words I am saying, I am aware that they are flawed.
You are going to have to explain to me very basic aspects of the game, right? Like during our conversation.
Yeah.
And these are they sweetly go, I thought you might actually know what you're talking about doing a podcast. It's no. It's my ignorance is my strength, right? That's my superpower.
It's like ignorance jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because it means that I can ask questions that people at home might want to listen to, right? Like a lot of the problem with a lot of LARP stuff, which is going to be the problem with our stuff, is that we end up shorthanding everything, in jokes, stuff that you'd have to know by and that's a real danger when you're producing anything to do with this stuff. Oh, I want to quickly talk about. I want to encourage people listening to go and create content that's about LARP. Put photos on your Facebook wall about LARP. Just break that stigma around it. Because one thing I've noticed is by putting the podcast and now started putting photos on my Facebook wall is how down people are and how cool people think it looks. Right? Yeah. like people might not get it, but they're certainly like, I don't know. I just want people to normalize it. Really,
I mean, like again, like it's so positive in the sense that I'm able to like I started crafting my own kit,
mm-hmm.
and I post pictures of that up to people who I know, obviously in the LARP
mm-hmm.
communities that we're part of, but also I put it on my own main kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
just for me, because it's like this is like, yeah, I'm like.
Dude,
it's part of my life.
You created
right?
something that was awesome, and you're proud of it.
I'm proud
right?
of it, and I want to share it genuinely with people. It's not just something that is
mm-hmm.
limited to LARP, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that is a great feeling. Like the fact that I can like show people at work. You know, I want this crazy weekend, and we got to run around with foam swords.
Is, like we've been going around this, but maybe this is all part of like the general development that we've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So when I talk about this stuff, it's hard to like we always talk about this, how it's hard to separate LARP from the podcast because they've come hand in hand together throughout this time.
But as I said, separating that from life,
but dude,
is so difficult.
That's what I mean. But the sense of growth in my own personal life is incredible. I'm much more willing to express myself, take risks, work on projects, believe that when I start a project, it's going to be finished.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time when you're in a kind of like rut, and bear in mind, my creative rut lasted over a decade, right? Like there's always going to be a project that will be able to get you over it. And once the ball's rolling, it becomes that much easier than it was before. You'll always still find it hard, but fuck.
Doing my history episode, right, was like a real like trial of like will, like in a sense for me.
Yes.
You know, like there's so many aspects, right? Because I was genuinely, like, hopefully people, but I'm genuinely trying my best to do everything as professionally as possible.
Yeah, it comes across. It's great.
But like, you know, I tried to do all the research I could. I like wrote it out and sort of ad-libbed around like the bits, and I rehearsed.
You rehearsed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than anyone else has done in this podcast.
Like, but like that's genuinely that was.
We do table reading and everything on the same night that we record.
We read it 2 minutes before we record it. Yeah.
I do, but I've usually spent the entire day before coming over to yours to record them, reading through the script, putting the tweaks in, adding stuff like that,
adding notes.
But it's all done. It is all done usually on the day of recording.
Yeah,
admittedly.
Yeah,
but.
No, Ian, sorry.
No, I think that's a really good. That's the exact parallel I'm talking about, right? Like it's like that's something I'm hugely proud of, right? Because,
dude, it rocks.
The fact that like, and there's like, I've got like a bit of music that I put together that's part of it. I've got like.
Do you know what we should do? We should try and make some playlists on Spotify or something that are kind of good leads through a lot of the lore that miss out a lot of the episodes that we just record generally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many talented people, but I mean, the Empire lore is so deep as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like that. But doing another one of those projects is like, it's weirdly like I'm at peace with it in my mind. I'm not sure when.
Yeah, you don't seem very motivated to do the second one. Like, it's,
well, I think it's more like I would like to do it, but there's other projects that are exciting me, and it's. The thing is, if I wanted to do it right, I want to do it with full passion.
Yeah.
Because it's something I care about. And it's like right now, like my mind's looking at a couple other things I want to do, which again are projects I've never thought I would attempt.
Yeah, I think it's always like, for me, it's definitely when lightning strikes, like I can go through long periods of inaction, but when the mood takes me, you just chase it down and get it done, right? Like,
and this goes for so many things in life, not just doing the podcast, but like going into like crafting something, for example, like. I recently like made a mask, basically, essentially to like, because as a glasses wearer, I'm always worried about like
the Navarre glasses problem, basically, as I would like to call it.
So basically, I made this mask to sort of help keep the glasses on and to look okay, because you know, as a glasses wearer, you kind of it can be awkward, right? And the fact like ultimately, I spent a long time procrastinating about doing that. I think I showed you a template for it. Like,
and how long did it take you to actually do?
I reckon it was probably like 4 or 5 hours.
Exactly the same. It's the same with the podcast. It's the same with everything else we do. The actual workload compared to the procrastinating time is like 80-90% procrastination, 10% doing. Like really, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of creators are probably going, or some psychopaths are like, nah, dude, I'm like 20% procrastination, like 80% action. Well, fuck you. How'd you like that shit?
No, it's like I think you kind of get better at it because, as well as let's kind of go back to what I was talking about before with like the sort of cross country kind of race. It's like sometimes it's tougher to go and do the next thing, and sometimes it's easier. Like, so sometimes you'll finish a project, let's do another one.
If we're going to keep the running analogy going, and this is about so I went on a run around my local lake. It's a 5k. I was training for the 10k, and I ran, and I was in a crap mood before I started. I was running and everything was hard. I was like, why is this so hard? I shouldn't be tired at this point in the run. I'm exhausted. I don't even know if we're going to be able to finish at this stage. Oh my god, just keep going. This is awful. I got to the finish line, hit the stop on my Strava app to find out how fast I had gone, and it was my personal record. I would say the same thing about creative projects. Sometimes if you are willing to torture yourself to do it, it's probably got some value, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
Crazily true.
Like, if you're willing to suffer so much to get something finished and get it out, it probably means quite a lot to you, right? Not saying that other projects you don't finish don't, but do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's where I am now. Sometimes it might take me months to do, or years when it comes to LARP life. But goddamn, that ball will just not leave me alone. It's like, finish me, finish me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like with the new project and stuff, some of the things that's got me thinking about that I want to try and do are quite expensive.
Let's leave that there. Let's not. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to however long this.
This was hugely rambly, hugely self-indulgent,
massively wank fest.
Like we might literally have to put a wank fest warning on at the beginning.
I feel scrubbed though. I feel like I've rinsed my soul in the thing. I've got some stuff out. It feels nice.
It's just great as well. Like genuinely, I think. A lot of this is a celebration of our fucking just friendship as well.
The three of us, the three amigos, loving each other, loving life, loving LARP, right? Like, it's fantastic, boys. Just to go over it again, please go and buy a raffle ticket. They're a £5 a piece. You can send your raffle. Just go to on PayPal, the LARP Noobs Podcast at gmail.com. You can PayPal us £5, put raffle in the thing, you'll be entered into the draw. If you just want to donate money, you can just donate. Everything that goes into that account over December will go to Young People versus Cancer, which is a really, really great charity cause. Sorry if the intro was really heavy. It is really heavy, right? Like, basically, I'm really happy I got through that without crying, basically, because that's how awful that is. So, but you know what? George absolutely loved LARP. And I think like people like him really make the hobby great. So I don't know. I don't really have the words for it.
I know, dude. It's so hard.
Let's close it out. We love you so much. Christmas is a rough time of year for some people. I'm going to be working a lot of night shifts over the Christmas time. We've all got to see family that we might not like. It's going to be a rough time for all. Or if you are alone over Christmas, don't worry, things will get better, right? Like, stick in there. We love you. LARP will happen soon. Cool.
Thank you so much, everyone.
we were going to do getting on horses and riding off into the sunset. And that isn't relevant. We're not going to do that. When you do hear that as a skit, that's when you know that we're for real. It's going to close it out, basically. But we should just close it out in the usual fashion, I think. Did you want to?
What? Ta-ta?
No. Do it properly.
What do you want?
The strength to...
You want the narrator?
No, the strength to the empire.
I don't know what you're on about. You're just chatting at me.
We just do it. We do it every episode. It's
God.
every episode.
I'm not here for every episode.
That's true.
It's like the third episode you've had me on. Apart from intros, outro stuff.
So every episode.
Well, but that's and that's we sitting in front of the tape recording, you shouting at me to do it better.
Throwing sweets at you and money.
Do it, you whore.
Yeah, with more passion, more emotion.
That's why when you're like, go on, do it, and it's like my brain just clicked narrator. They telling me to do something in front of the recorder.
No, it's fun.
Clicked into the voice,
dude. It was fun when we did that table recording. And for the Tower of Anarch, for the Beast of Bringsland, and all the actors we were all doing it, And then I occasionally like came in and went like, oh, could you just do this and just do that? And Bungle was like, oh, you're just getting a little taste of what it's like. You know what I mean?
I was actually the massive segue from the closing bit we were just about to
yeah, we just
I genuinely wanted to like ask you about this, guys.
What?
Like, because obviously the side of the podcast that I'm involved in is not the performance side that you guys do with the whole thing. I was just really interested in like...
You wrote one?
No, I did, but like in terms of actually performing the parts and so on.
You played
I played one guy.
You played with the real big bad.
But like, my point is that like, I was just really going to ask, did you have any particular memories of those recording sessions together? Because like... it's something weirdly, guys, that I've not been involved in. Like, dear listeners, this is something I don't know about.
Like stuff from the episodes people would have heard, which I've loved doing. Like the prison break on episode. I think it's episode 3.
Yeah,
the prison break one.
It's the best episode.
The prison break is my favourite episode. Yeah, I really like that one.
I still love the line. Cut his head clean off.
Yeah.
For some reason, I love it so much, and
a great one.
I quote it to people like it's like, you know, if you're quoting like an 80s movie, but it's not. It's a thing I wrote that you performed that no one else has probably listened to, right?
It's become your new shoot hard.
Yeah, cut her head clean off. I love it. It's so good.
It is iconically the narrator as well.
Yeah, that is so. But no, there's loads of stuff. Like, I love all the kind of the different actors bringing like different things to it. I liked.
It was lovely doing, because obviously the first lot of stuff we did, especially like the Tower of Anarch. You get me tanging away from the original ending, but the Tower of Anarch stuff.
Yeah.
That the voices for that were majority, well, like Ian was Derek, I believe.
Yeah.
You did a few of these sort of additional voices as well.
Yeah.
We had a few of our just friends. I think Ben.
Yeah.
A few of the voices. Obviously, Callum.
Well, no, but I had people who I would write in as single characters. Okay, they'll be in one scene. Okay, like the lady Hardew, whatever her name is. And there was another character who's the shop seller in the Blind Dogs episode, who I've now got to be John Smith, whatever, in the Tower of the Beast of Beggarland.
You were the shopkeeper in...
No, there's a different shopkeeper in the Blind Dogs.
In the actual
Blind Dogs episode, who gets shot. Yeah. And both of them turned out to be like phenomenal voice acting talent, and they were just people I work with who was like, "Hey, I need a voice to do this." So I was like, and I killed them both off, and was like, "Oh fuck!" Like they were some of the best talent I've had. So crazy.
Yeah. No, it's been so much fun, and doing the table read with, like, doing that stuff, like I say, and obviously I was doing a couple of voices in that one, so we had a lot of fun. Initially, trying to do the recordings with me just trying to one take the whole scene.
No, it doesn't work.
And my brain just broke.
Dude, you can't.
Quickly.
You could, like, if anyone's like trying to do voices, trying to swap like mums and dads reading stuff to their kids. Hats off to you. Like, switching voices midway through is very difficult.
Playing my current D&D character, who's basically two sort of separate personalities, it's actually very challenging to like do that switch. So like, and that's just with two characters.
Yeah.
So I mean,
thankfully with the two I was doing, it's a combination of very well the Traeger-esque, slightly camp narrator.
Oh, the German.
And the German, which was basically my own version
I'm
of...
I'm so sorry, Germany, by the way. I'm really sorry to have the bad guy be a German-sounding character who's slightly camp.
He's from the Commonwealth, which speaks German.
Yeah, still... sorry, Germany, basically. Like, sorry. But no, it's been an absolute hoot shoot recording all of those. Like, I'm so excited for the end. The best stuff in the Beast of Beggarland is literally next to come. Like, I've written a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of it can stay intact. But there's a scene which reveals a whole bunch of stuff. It's some of the best stuff I've ever written, and hearing it read out was like, oh man, those moments that when you watch a TV show and you go, oh, like they were moments. It's cool.
That table was the first time I've done these things with the other actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And normally it's always just been one-on-one stuff. Like doing
how was
things.
that done? Did you all meet
We
up?
just went on Discord, and there's a whole bunch of people that have never met before each other.
I've met James.
Yeah, but a bunch of them. Like, did you know everyone there?
No.
And it was the same
the first
for
time
everyone
seeing
else.
anyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
So having them all kind of go out there and give it their all.
And then it's like boom. And it's like, and everyone, as soon as we started doing the table read, it's initially like, First line gets read, and it's just a boom straight into the character.
We did like one table read, and then I started to coach everyone. And then after a little bit of coaching, when we did the scenes, like especially like James's performance, who plays the friar. His performance is just—they're all excellent. But anyway, we'll get to that. I'm actually telling you about stuff that we haven't recorded yet because of it's annoying. But we'll get there in the end. I promise. It's way too close to my heart not to at this stage.
I think the crazy thing with that project is, if you think about it, and I've said this to you a bunch of times, I think, when you've struggled a bit more, is that if you took all of the intros and outros and put them all together, it's like a fucking movie.
Yeah,
it's like the length of it. Right?
There are certain scenes that really bother me still, like the end of the Terror of Anarch. The sound effects aren't very good. It's very confusing. Like, I'm still trying to work out how to do action as audio. I'm still struggling with, but I feel now significantly better armed. In fact, one of the things I really want to work on next year is potentially doing something that is purely just a almost like a Twilight Zone-esque episodical thing, drama thing. I feel like that might be something really important.
You've got a really cool story to tell.
There's a couple of things. The framing I like, and there's a bunch of stuff I like about it. I think I just need to get writing. I've got a lot of confidence. I think I might try and actually get some like legit actors in, and try and like
fucking leave.
No. I'm stopping. No, you're definitely an actor with how sensitive you are, Jesus. But you know what I mean? Like, really go for it. Like, really go for it. I don't know. Yeah. And it's also like weird, like with the podcast or everything else that we're working on. People enjoying it is amazing and really, really good. But it's not something I need to be successful. Successful with air commas, right? Just existing is enough for me. Like with a lot of the stuff that
I think that's true, and I think that's how it's always been. Like it's
it's true. It's not how it's always been. Anyway, let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Ian, you do it this time.
All right. Strength to the Empire.
Strength to Navarre. And thank you to the patrons.
I love you guys.
Ta-ta.